In this video, we will discuss what employers expect from Hadoop administrators. Hadoop environments are distributed systems, and you could potentially have hundreds or even thousands of nodes working together. And also, you have lots of tools in the Hadoop ecosystem, which means there is a good probability for things to go wrong. In most companies, Hadoop is at the center of everything, and this means you cannot afford to have issues in your Hadoop production environments. For this reason, most employers look for Hadoop administrators who have well-rounded knowledge about Hadoop and tools in the Hadoop ecosystem, and also understand how Hadoop and these tools work behind the scenes. If you are an aspiring Hadoop administrator, it helps if you know what employers like to see in a candidate when they interview someone for Hadoop administrator position, and what is the expectation from you as a Hadoop administrator when you land on the job. So here is what you need to know in terms of what is expected from Hadoop administrators. Hadoop administrators are expected to survive without tools like Cloudera Manager for installation and configuration. We often hire Hadoop administrators for our clients, and we know precisely what to look for in a candidate. It does not take long for us to know whether the candidate is good or bad, and whether he or she will be able to handle our Hadoop environments or not. Most Hadoop administration interview starts with installation first. Even though most production clusters are managed by cluster management softwares like Cloudera Manager or Apache Ambari, administrators are expected to install and configure Hadoop cluster and other ecosystem components manually without the help of any tool. We always ask the candidate to explain the steps to configure high availability Hadoop cluster without tools like Cloudera Manager in an interview, for example. The reason a question like this is important for hiring managers is because you can enable high availability in a cluster with Cloudera Manager in a matter of minutes, just with a few clicks. But it hides all the behind the scenes details. When you know how to configure something like high availability manually and explain the steps, it tells that the candidate has strong experience and also know how things work behind the scenes. Which means when something breaks or something needs to be tweaked, you know where to look and what to change. To put it very simply, you won't give your car to a car mechanic who does not understand how things work under the hood. Same applies for Hadoop administration. You cannot expect an employer to offer someone a Hadoop administrator job who does not understand how Hadoop works behind the scenes. Hadoop administrators are expected to know more than install, start, and stop services. When it comes to Hadoop administration, most courses out there covers only few architecture concepts and install Hadoop with tools like Cloudera Manager and explain how to start and stop services. That's insane. Hadoop administration is much more than that and much more involved. To give you a few examples, as a Hadoop administrator, you are expected to know how to install, configure, and enable Kerberos security. If a cluster is not high availability enabled, you need to know how to configure and enable high availability. You're expected to know what is fair and capacity scheduler, what is the difference between the two, and when to go with fair scheduler and when to choose capacity scheduler. You're also expected to know how to protect against accidental data loss. All these components are very important for any Hadoop administrator to understand. To put it very simply again, ask this question. Will you give your car for diagnosis to a car mechanic who only knows to change tires? No, absolutely not. You expect the mechanic to know about the engine, transmission, brakes, etc. Similarly, don't expect any employer to offer a Hadoop administration position if all the candidate knows is cluster installation, starting and stopping services. Hadoop administrators are expected to be experts in planning clusters. Planning a Hadoop cluster is the job of a Hadoop administrator without a doubt. This task may sound simple, but it is much involved. The difficulty with planning a cluster is that you won't know for sure how the Hadoop cluster will be used in the future. We have seen time and time again the intended use of Hadoop cluster deviates from the initial planning phase within just few months of cluster go live. Since there is some level of uncertainty in how the cluster will be used in the future, as an administrator, you should analyze the current needs and do your best in projecting the future needs and present a more balanced configuration. The job in planning a cluster is to estimate the storage needs, computational needs, number of nodes in the cluster, picking the right configuration for individual nodes, design a good network topology, choosing between storage-intensive nodes and compute-intensive nodes, etc. As said, it is more involved than it sounds. Given the importance of this topic, we are surprised, actually shocked, to see many courses out there that doesn't even mention this topic. Hadoop administrators are expected to have good troubleshooting skills. In any software environment, it is safe to assume that things fail. This is certainly true for a distributed environment like Hadoop. With Hadoop, you have hundreds or even thousands of nodes running at the same time. You have many jobs running at the same time, many users accessing the cluster at the same time. You have data coming in from many sources at the same time. Also, you have many tools like Hive, Scoop, Flume being used at the same time. You get the idea now. With so many things happening at the same time, there is a high potential for things to go wrong. Hadoop administrators are paid top dollars to handle chaos when things are broken. Hadoop administrators will be called to troubleshoot and fix issues when things go wrong. This means any aspiring Hadoop administrators should be prepared for such scenarios. This also means you need to know how things work even when you don't work on the topic directly. For example, as a Hadoop administrator, you will not be asked to write a MapReduce program, but you're expected to know how MapReduce works, what are the phases in MapReduce, what happens in the shuffle phase, why shuffle phase is intensive, etc. Knowing these details will help you troubleshoot and advise on potential solutions when there is a performance issue with a MapReduce program, for instance. Similarly, you should also have a decent understanding of other Hadoop ecosystem tools like Hive, Pig, Scoop, Flume, etc. and how they work. This also goes back to knowing the behind-the-scenes details. When you know how things work under the hood, that is the configuration details behind the tools and its functionalities, you will be in a better position to fix issues efficiently. Hadoop administrators are not expected to be certified, but it does not hurt to be certified. Certifications like Cloudera's Certified Administrator for Apache Hadoop, in short CCAH, certainly puts you and your resume on the spotlight, and it gives you instant credibility. Keep in mind, being certified does not mean you're guaranteed a job. Most employers definitely evaluate the candidate before offering a job. Having all things equal between two candidates, an employer will prefer the candidate with the certification to the candidate without any certification. When students and members of Hadoop and RealWorld community asked us to create a Hadoop administration course, we went ahead with our research. Soon we realized that the courses out there does not focus on any of the critical elements which we just looked at. As said before, almost all courses touched on architecture, installation, starting and stopping services, and that is it. It was shocking. So we decided to design and create a course which will really help aspiring Hadoop administrators to manage and administer real-world Hadoop cluster in real production environments with confidence and stress-free. We cover all the admin essentials in the Hadoop Administrator in RealWorld course, from getting to know your cluster, starting, stopping services, adding and removing nodes to and from the cluster, recovering from data losses, etc. That is not the exciting part though. That is just scratching the tip of the iceberg. We are more interested in teaching our students the critical functionalities like installing and configuring high availability, installing and configuring Kerberos authentication, installing and configuring different schedulers like FAIR and capacity schedulers, etc. And let's be clear, when we install any component, we teach manual installation and manually configure all the elements. This way, you understand exactly what is happening behind the scenes, which means our students can survive even when there is no cluster management tools like Cloudera Manager or Ambari. Also, we have covered so many tips, tricks, and shortcuts in the course which will help you with day-to-day administration tasks. We have a dedicated chapter which will help you understand what goes in planning a Hadoop cluster. And as a bonus, Hadoop Administrator in RealWorld course is CCAH certification ready, meaning we have covered all the necessary components needed to clear Cloudera's Certified Administrator for Apache Hadoop, in short, CCAH exam. So in short, we have designed the Hadoop Administrator in RealWorld course to equip students with all the necessary skills to administer and manage real-world chaotic Hadoop production clusters with confidence and stress-free. You can check out the full curriculum of the course and pre-order the course at www.hadoopinrealworld.com/admin. Shoot us an email at info@hadoopinrealworld.com if you have any questions, and we will be happy to answer. Keep an eye out for an email from us explaining in detail the curriculum of Hadoop Administrator in RealWorld course. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for being a part of Hadoop in RealWorld community.